Welcome back to another edition of Modern Dallas TV. I'm Jeff Levine with moderndallas.net. This week we're here at our sponsor, Scott Plus Cooner. They have their annual Knoll sale all the way through February the 28th, and you can see some of the most incredible classics from Saarinen, Bertoya, Mies van der Rohe, Platina, just a few. But stop by the showroom and you can see the Bruno chair by Mies van der Rohe and their daybed, which is so uniquely finished. Instead of the classic black and chrome, a beautiful white leather with a wood frame. And then you have the Saarinen tables. There's a whole collection where now not only the white marble, but there's a great variety of marbles that you can select from, and we have them here in the showroom. You can see all these pieces here in the showroom at 1617 Highline Drive in the Dallas Design District, or visit them at scottcooner.com. But this week we have a wonderful lineup. We stop by a wonderful contemporary in University Park, visit Talley Dunn Gallery, and see the show by Vernon Fisher and Erick Swenson. And lastly, Modern Dallas Sacred Spaces visits the iconic mid-century modern building and the addition at Temple Emanu-El. Stick around for the art scene, the calendar, and enjoy this edition of Modern Dallas TV. Modern Dallas Real Estate this week is here in University Park at 4216 San Carlos, and I'm here with Laura Michelle and Ryan Strife of the Perry Miller Strife Group. And Ryan, I drive up to this home and it's got just great curb appeal. Tell us a little bit about this home, the architect, the developer, because it's a great story, and obviously it takes a great team to build a house like this.
Absolutely, thank you, Jeff. This is a beautiful house. Robert Raymond Homes is the builder. William Briggs is the architect, and they've partnered on a few other houses. We were at Mangold, I think 4920 Mangold recently, same combination. But they're an award-winning team. They've been building in kind of the estate neighborhoods, and I think they just always nail it on the design sensibility and material selection. Everybody's been really pleased with that, including the front elevation.
So Laura, this is a great home. You know, I go into homes and certain of those just have a great feel and vibe about them. It's well laid out, it's got good sensibility. Tell us about the inside of the house and some of the features and benefits.
Well, this truly is modern luxury, but with a casual feel. He's got top-notch finish out throughout, you'll see. Starting with pier and beam construction, but you come into the home, you've got these beautiful windows, light-filled interiors, Luder's buff limestone accents on the fireplaces, built-in limestone breakfast table, Thermador appliances in the kitchen. You move upstairs to the master bathroom, and that's really the star of the show. Beautiful Carrara marble. A closet that's built for a movie star. Well thought out, well designed, and we've had great reception to it so far.
So are there any technical features that are unique to this house?
You know, there are. One of the things that Robert Raymond Homes does is build in the functionality. There's a Control4 system that's built in, so you can connect that and control it from your iPad or handheld device. Also, they all pride themselves in making sure that homes are very energy efficient as well. So, you know, the bills on these types of homes are always relatively low.
Yeah, that's a great addition and a great built-in feature. So this is a great neighborhood. Not only this house being in a great location, there's so much to do around here. What can people expect when they come to University Park?
Well, with walkability being such a huge trend right now, we are just down the street from Highland Park Village, the newly redeveloped YMCA, and this is in Bradfield Elementary, which is one of the best rated schools in the district.
Absolutely, and as your kids grow, I mean, McCullough Middle School, the high school, these are great exemplary schools. So you can see this home on your website, and it's
DavePerryMiller.com.
And it's listed for
$2,350,000.
And if you'd like to see all the modern listings in Dallas, visit our website at moderndallas.net. Thank you very much. The modern lifestyle begins in the home. and you'll find a range of unique living spaces across Dallas's most desirable neighborhoods. Start your search by meeting one of these modern realtors. Poget began his career with a degree in architecture, followed by years of interior design work, including the interior design of several luxury high-rises and commissions for clients' dream homes. Poget's distinct background makes real estate a natural fit. Modern Dallas Art this week is at Talley Dunn Gallery, one of our stops over the years to see wonderful work. But what makes work prestigious? What makes artists prestigious? Not only with a Dallas-based audience and a national-based audience, but an international audience. And these artists are those that have museum shows, retrospectives, whether it's Vernon Fisher at the Museum of Modern Art in New York or the Whitney Biennial, same with Erick Swenson. And Erick's also at the National Sculpture Center. Talley, this is sort of all comes together at some level that I think people understand it's not just being an artist. There's so much more to it.
Right.
How do they get there?
A lot of hard work, very dedicated. Both Erick Swenson and Vernon Fisher are tremendously dedicated artists that are very devoted to their careers and long relationships in the art world and making really fantastic work that is rigorous, that has a lot of layers, that is complex, and then very often both of them have almost more museum attention than private collection attention to their work. Or they have balanced, but in the case of Vernon Fisher, he's been in 2 Whitney Biennials, MoMA, the LA County Museum, and then, as we said, the recent show at the Fort Worth Nasher. And it's through just really creating work that has layers and complexity and the respect of their peers. They both have tremendous respect among artists and curators and critics.
So with that, we're here to see Vernon's show. These pieces all tell great stories. Tell us a little bit about the work, about the show, and what do these mean to somebody like myself or everyone else just coming in and looking at this work?
Sure. Well, one of the things about Vernon's work to remind yourself of is that they're paintings. So whereas you may be looking at a painting and think you're looking at a chalkboard or chalk or a photograph or collage, everything you're looking at is paint and painted. And then there's a layering of imagery. And what I loved when I was talking to Vernon and doing studio visits about this work is he wants there to be a little bit of confusion with the paintings. As he said, he wants them to be easy to get into, but difficult to get out. And he's very fascinated, as he also says, about the static, you know, not just the clear message that you see or you hear, but he likes the fuzziness, he likes the static, he likes for there to be a little bit of confusion and the desire of a viewer to really want a narrative, but to not really give you a clear narrative, which I think has a lot of staying power with the work.
Absolutely, and there's such a variety within this collection. There must be a gradient of work, of where it is, and you know, you see these landscape pieces. How does that all pull it together?
Well, the entire show is almost like a single piece, the way he sees it, where when you look at a composition, it isn't just one kind of imagery, it's multiple kinds of imagery. Things in color, things in black and white, things as a cartoon, elements of a scientific diagram, maps, longitude and latitude lines, all different layering. The whole show's like that too, where you don't have one composition type, you have multiple. So you have chalkboard paintings, you have landscape works, and then you have these new blurred paintings, which are really successful and exciting and kind of his newest direction. But again, the whole show reads almost as a single composition with varied vocabulary within the whole.
So with that said, let's move on to Erick's work and see what he's got to show us.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
As we come through this part of the gallery and see Erick Swenson's dramatic works, this is so unique, and it's unbelievable to think that you're looking at a piece that you feel is so real and is just moving, and everything is just almost coming up to the top, but it's not real. Tell us how this all comes together.
Well, Erick's work is dark, it is masterful, it is very intense. And in this piece called Schwammerei, you have what you believe to be a beer stein, looks like ceramic, looks like glazing of a ceramic stein, but in fact it's completely fabricated. It's epoxy, and what you have crawling up it and almost moving as you look at it are these snails that are each hand painted. The whole thing is a painting, hand painted, and they move up the stein. And then, as some people may know, slugs and snails are attracted to beer, and they'll drink it and drown in it. In fact, a lot of organic gardeners use beer traps to get snails and slugs out of their garden. So it's this tragedy here. The snails are crawling up, attracted to the beer, and then they're crawling inside and falling and drowning. As you look into it, it is just a void, and it just disappears. You can't see the bottom into nothingness.
So the works are so unique. I mean, you know, learning a little bit about snails and beer, and then we look at the other work, Ne Plus Ultra. It's almost, it's real. For somebody who's vegetarian, it's almost repulsive, but yet it has a beauty. It
too is a sculpture that has been carved out of clay and then cast and painted. So you're looking at a painting of a decomposing deer body. And as the flesh is decomposing, you're seeing the bone revealed and you're seeing the scrimshaw. So there's this idea, kind of the beauty of death and the grotesque aspect of it as well. You don't want to get close to it, to the carcass, but you're drawn into it to see the detail of the scrimshaw. And it's a piece that's been shown at the Nasher Sculpture Center. It's editioned of 2, and the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston owns the other piece. This one will be traveling to the Honolulu Museum this time next year.
These are 2 amazing shows, thought-provoking. This is what galleries are here for, not only just to see great work, but to teach you, to learn, and experience something that's sort of out of body at some level. You can see the show here at Talley Dunn Gallery, or visit them online at talleydunn.com. How long is the show going on for?
Through mid-March. We just extended both exhibitions.
And you can see the work at 5020 Tracy Street. Modern Dallas Sacred Spaces this week is at Temple Emanu-El in North Dallas, right off of Northwest Highway. I'm sure you've driven by this iconic building many a time, but this was designed in the 50s. This is the original sanctuary called the Olin Sanctuary, and I'm here with Scott McCartney of the Temple. Thanks for being part of our show.
Great to be with you.
So Scott, we start off on this side, and part of the journey today is to really highlight the new addition. But this is a great start.
Yes, yeah. The Olin Sanctuary, when it opened, was on the cover of Life magazine. It is architecturally significant as a Jewish place of worship, unique in many respects. They took great care to create a lasting living space. The arc doors, which are so beautiful, were done by a mid-century modern artist, Andy Albers. There are just many elements of the space that endured. When we started doing the renovation construction project, the one thing all congregants said was, don't touch Olin, don't change Olin. They just love it too much. So what we did was fix the things they didn't love about Olin. We improved the lighting. We took down the original can lights and sent them off, and actually a lighting company owned by a congregant rewired them and put really fine LED lighting in there. And then we worked on the acoustics because that was always a challenge. So the sound system is much improved, the lighting is much improved. There's a fire sprinkler system, which we never had because it was built in the 50s. And other than that, we tried very hard not to change it.
And what's amazing, and obviously I've been here for the last 30 years, this is true mid-century modern architecture.
Yeah, very much so. And very much part of the culture of Temple Emanu-El. I think the same kind of contemporary elegance has always sort of pervaded the congregation. Never been a congregation that wanted to be flashy, showy, but really cherishes the building as an artwork.
Absolutely. And what's significant is the new addition, which we'll move over to, the Stern Sanctuary. You've almost not duplicated it, but you've covered the ground so well with architecture that is consistent with the original development.
Well, when we were designing Stern Chapel, the artists involved in that project, the first thing we did was bring them in here. And with Suzanne Tick, who's a textile artist from New York, we sat with her in a worship service here so she could see how we utilize the space, but also what we wanted to do was to highlight the Annie Albers doors and say, what could we do on the ark in Stern Chapel that would be inspired by those doors that are so loved by the congregation. And I think you'll see she's succeeded very well. It's the same with the Ner Tamid, the eternal light that hangs from the ceiling. Linda Ridgway, the Dallas sculptor who did the eternal light in the Stern Chapel, brought her in here. Look at this. This is the symbol of Temple Emanu-El. We use that eternal light in our logo and all of our communications. So what can we do that is not a copy, but carries on the legacy that we love so much?
So let's move on to the Stern Sanctuary. And while we're going that direction, we'll walk by this beautiful hallway of Chagall pieces of art.
Yes.
So as we take our journey now here into the Stern Chapel, which you can see is a magnificent space designed by architect Gary Cunningham, this was part of a much bigger vision, adding the chapel, additional office space.
And the school wing.
And the school wing.
Yeah.
But what Gary's created, and Gary's extremely talented when it comes to religious institutions. He's had a great hand in quite a few of them in town.
Yes.
This really is spectacular.
Yes, and I think this is Gary's greatest achievement. Gary did two things so incredibly well. He created a master plan for the entire campus. That we, as David Stern says, Gary showed us what we didn't know we needed and didn't know we wanted, but captured what we were looking for so brilliantly. He created hallways with natural light that we never had before, reorganizing buildings. He created a central gathering space that was exactly the sort of town square that we were looking for, where people could gather. But with Stern Chapel, it is truly one of the great worship spaces, but also so acoustically pure. It's a great concert venue. So beautiful, I think, just taking the whole ethos of mid-century modern and turning it into a beautiful space for today. We wanted a worship space that would bring nature into the experience. We have a beautiful courtyard with 4 gorgeous trees, and how could we capture that? And so Gary created a 30-foot tall wall of windows in the chapel that really, when you sit during a worship service, during the day it comes in, at night the trees are illuminated. The seasons, the whole look of the room changes with the seasons. It's really spectacular. This room, it's about 500 seats. It has 2 rows of seating in the balcony. There's not a bad seat in the house. It just is, I think, handsome and utilitarian and just perfect for what we've done, and the congregation has loved it.
And obviously there are some great additions as well. That beautiful staircase with the oculus.
Yes, which was much talked about. Went through several different versions, but wherever he could, he did a brilliant job of bringing in natural light. and that was that has changed so much of the feeling, just of the office space as a workspace, with clear glass windows on everybody's office. It's just a much more open, much more inviting place.
And a couple of last things. The addition is almost seamless. It looks like a mid-century modern building.
Yes.
In 2017.
Yes, he worked very hard to make it integrate perfectly. We even, on the glass wall, the size of each window in the glass wall, the dimensions mirror the stained glass that's in Olin's sanctuary, so that there would be a relation between the two. The doors on the ark is centerpiece of the worship space. It holds the Torah. It's incredibly important, and Suzanne Tick, the New York artist, we commissioned to do that. It was inspired by the Annie Albers door in the sanctuary. We wanted to make it familiar to the congregation, but yet new and different. And I think Gary and the artists he worked with just captured that incredibly well.
And lastly, the outdoor landscaping is spectacular. I think we need to give a nod to David Hocker.
David Hocker was just brilliant, and the poor guy, we cut his budget significantly, and he still did just an amazing job. By the front doors, when you stop and look down in the amphitheater, I just marvel. It looks like a completely different place than what was here before at Hillcrest and Northwest Highway. Sometimes you look at it and you think you're not in North Dallas anymore. He used native grasses. He used easy maintenance plants. Just came up with a beautiful design. And in the courtyard, it's a very stark scene with gravel and things like that, dominated by the trees and Japanese maples that he brought in. And it's very modern, and I think very useful because we have events outdoors and things like that, but they really saw it. We put a walkway through the center, really saw it as a transition space from the hustle and bustle of the parking lot to exhaling to coming into worship space and really transitioning into a different place before you start worshiping.
Well, I tell you, that is a great way to end it, because when you do walk in here, it feels like a sanctuary. You just feel this relief.
Yeah.
There's something about, maybe it's that minimalist feel outside, just the feel of the architecture, but in addition, there's some great work closer to Northwest Highway where David's added in some great concrete elements. Mm-hmm. And that's all part of this coming into the space.
Yeah.
It starts from out there, you come inside. This is a wonderful, wonderful sacred space. We appreciate the opportunity, Scott. Thank you very much.
Sure, great to be with you.
Thanks. To wrap up this edition of Modern Dallas TV on the art scene, all the galleries have brand new work on the walls. Visit our website on the arts page and get all the listings, and maybe plan a tour this Saturday afternoon. On the calendar of events, we have our famous Modernist Meetup on the 22nd from 6:30 to 8:30, and it's located at a furniture store on Oak Lawn Avenue called Living Modern. There are other events this week, so visit our calendar page on Modern Dallas, get all the details. If you need tickets, just click through to the website and you can purchase them there. Todd Camplin covers the art scene, from the art galleries, museums to artists, all on our website at moderndallas.net. And if you're in the market for a modern, mid-century modern, contemporary home, high-rise or loft, we simply have the finest moderns in Dallas. For this week, like every week, we appreciate you being part of our show. We'll see you later.